Isagi finds himself at a crossroads, grappling with a decision that could change his life forever. With only 90 minutes left to choose, the weight of the moment presses down on him. Around him, the choices of others begin to fall into place. Igarashi sets his sights on Germany, Otoya on Spain, Aru on Italy, and Zantetsu decides on France. Chigiri, sensing Isagi's hesitation, turns to him and asks, "Have you decided?" Isagi admits he's torn. This isn't just about picking a league, it's about shaping their futures as players on the international stage. He mentions his childhood dream of playing in Germany, inspired by Noah, but his recent fascination with English football clouds his decision. Curious, Isagi asks Chigiri about his choice. With confidence, Chigiri reveals he's chosen England, driven by a desire to test his speed against the best. Reo overhears and chimes in, declaring he'll be joining Chigiri in England, not only because of his fondness for its teams, but also because it's a land teeming with opportunity and, in his words, smells like money. Isagi then turns to Nagi, wondering about his decision. Nagi expresses a desire to play where Bergkamp once did, only to learn from Chigiri that Bergkamp has retired. However, Chigiri's mention that Bergkamp played in England seals Nagi's decision to join the same league. Amid this flurry of choices, Bachira steps in, revealing he's chosen Spain. It's unsurprising, yet his reasoning catches Isagi off guard. "It doesn't matter where I go," Bachira says. His focus is singular, becoming the best striker in the world. For him, it's not about choosing the perfect environment, but about creating his own path. He trusts his instincts over logic and encourages Isagi to do the same. As he walks away, Bachira adds a parting challenge. "When we meet again, we'd better both have evolved." Bachira's words ignite a spark in Isagi, who decides to follow his instincts. He chooses the place that stirs his passion the most, Germany. As the Germany-bound players gather, Isagi takes stock of his new teammates. Igarashi, Yukima, Hiroi, Raichi, Gagamaru, Neru, Corona, Kiora, and himself. Together, they enter a darkened room where a hologram of Ego appears, revealing their next challenge. Ego explains that while they'll represent Germany, the environment of the Big Five European leagues will be recreated within Blue Lock itself. To raise the stakes, players their age from the top teams, England's Mansion City, Italy's Ubers, Spain's FC Barra, France's Paris X-Gen, and Germany's Bastard München have been invited. Their ultimate goal? To compete and thrive in this elite environment. But the true twist comes when Ego unveils their mentors, the ace strikers reigning over these leagues. As the silhouettes of these legendary players appear, the room buzzes with anticipation. Leading the charge for Germany is none other than Noel, the master striker of Bastard München. Ego announces that the match against Japan's U20 team has catapulted Blue Lock into the global spotlight. The success has attracted the interest of sponsors eager to capitalize on its potential, enabling Phase 2 to surpass his wildest expectations. However, the advancements are not confined to Germany alone. Each training stratum has secured a master striker to mentor the players. Ego begins the introductions with England's Chris Prince, a striker renowned as an equal to Noah. Spain is represented by Lemmino, the genius dribbler dominating Spain's league. Italy's contribution is Snuffy, the secret behind Uber's success. Lastly, from France comes Loki, the #1 supernova in football, captivating fans worldwide. These master strikers will mentor players based on their unique philosophies, forcing everyone to evolve in this competitive environment, whether they want to or not. Ego proceeds to outline the structure of this phase. Players will train under these masters, competing for a spot among the regulars. Selection requires them to prove their worth and earn a place on a team composed of 11 original Blue Lock members. Once chosen, these teams will compete in matches against one another, forming a league where players face not only new opponents, but also former teammates who joined other leagues. Key rules include a 3-goal win condition and unlimited substitutions, with the most thrilling feature being that the masters themselves can sub in for 3 minutes. Although this stage is exhilarating for the players, Ego reminds them that it serves as the final selection for Japan's U20 World Cup team. With each match, rankings will shift, making every performance critical. Ego describes this as the culmination of his vision, a fierce battle to create the world's best striker, heralding a new era of football unlike anything seen before. Isagi is awestruck at the prospect of learning directly from Noah and playing alongside him, seeing this as an unprecedented opportunity to push himself closer to becoming the world's top striker. Before the players can fully absorb this, Ego announces one final twist. He reveals that Bastard München's team will include a special addition, a player who followed an unconventional path. While the current Blue Lock participants earned their spots through standard progression, Ego had also devised a wildcard route for those who were defeated, forcing them to adopt different philosophies. Now, the ultimate survivor of this wildcard system is set to return. As the doors open, Ego introduces the final dark horse, Kunigami Rensuke. His reappearance shocks everyone, marking the beginning of Blue Lock Phase 2. As Ego exits, he declares that he's leaving everything in Noah's hands. Moments later, a high-tech door slides open, revealing what looks like a cybernetic training world. Noah steps forward and instructs the group. In Germany, they must proceed to the goal, where he will be waiting. Without further explanation, he departs, leaving the Blue Lock players to realize that they'll have to compete against the German players in a race to the goal. Isagi approaches Kunigami, expressing his excitement at his return and calling him a superhero. However, Kunigami coldly shuts him down, stating that he no longer goes by such a childish nickname. Instead, he warns Isagi to prepare because he will be the one to become the best in the world. Isagi is taken aback by Kunigami's transformed demeanor, but quickly refocuses on the task at hand. The race begins, and the training kicks off with an intense sprint. Isagi notices how much faster Kunigami is now and is amazed by his enhanced physical abilities. As they enter the second zone, the challenge intensifies with a steep uphill climb. Isagi is awestruck by the German players, who effortlessly maintain their pace. He wonders if they're really the same age as him. Still, his determination pushes him forward, and he manages to pass through Zone 3 without issue. However, Zone 4 proves to be a major hurdle. The pace is brutal, and Isagi struggles to keep up. To his shock, the only one able to match the German players is Kunigami, whose strength and stamina seem unparalleled. Just as Isagi starts falling behind, he hears that someone has already finished the race. Kaiser, a German player. Arriving at the final zone, Isagi resolves to prove his worth. He skillfully maneuvers through the obstacles and lines up for the highest scoring shot. But just as he releases his kick, a voice in German rings out saying, "I've been waiting to meet you, Isagi." Suddenly, a ball soars in, colliding with Isagi's and completely derailing his shot. Stunned, Isagi looks up to see a figure stepping forward, a player who exudes confidence and authority. The man introduces himself as Kaiser. Smirking, Kaiser tells them to kneel before him, declaring his superiority. Isagi immediately recognizes Kaiser as one of the new Generation 11, an elite group of players. Before he can process the situation, another player steps forward, addressing Kaiser. The newcomer explains that the Blue Lock players can't understand him and hands them a special micro-interpreter. This device, a gift, allows them to understand each other. The player introduces himself as Alexis Ness, a teammate of Kaiser's. The Blue Lock players also notice that their headphones are labeled as creations of Ryo's family, showcasing the influence behind their equipment. Before they can react further, another German player, Eric Gessner, barges in, telling Ness to stop being so polite. Gessner comments that they're only here because they've been told Blue Lock is supposed to be incredible. Shortly after, Benedict Grimm joins in, theatrically acting as if he's in a school play, adding an eccentric flair to the group dynamic. Isagi looks away briefly, but in that moment, Kaiser seizes the opportunity to grab him and pull him close, aiming to intimidate him. Kaiser declares that he specifically came to meet Isagi, the so-called ace striker of Blue Lock. He warns Isagi not to disappoint him. Isagi attempts to free himself, but Kaiser uses his full strength to pin him against the wall. Leaning in, Kaiser coldly demands that Isagi give him a reason not to regret coming to Blue Lock, saying he expects Isagi to get in the way of his ambitions and test his abilities. Determined, Isagi retorts that he will do just that and promises to destroy Kaiser's expectations. Smirking, Kaiser calls Ness over to hand him a tissue, treating him like a subordinate. Ness complies and then asks what title Kaiser thinks Isagi should have. Kaiser mockingly replies that until Isagi proves himself, he's nothing more than a clown in this circus called Blue Lock, a pathetic sideshow performer entertaining the true stars. Before things escalate further, Noah appears and orders Kaiser to back off, calling his behavior childish. Kaiser tries to argue, but Noah shuts him down, reminding him who's in charge. Noah then addresses all the players, stating that the initial training is over. He explains that the room they've been competing in is designed to measure their physical capabilities, reflecting Bastard München's philosophy of extreme rationality. Noah emphasizes that in this environment, only logic and data matter, not intangible factors like emotion or impression. He announces that the 21 players present will be ranked based on their training and gameplay performance, with only the top 11 earning the chance to play in the next match. Isagi realizes that this is a brutal game of data survival, where everything comes down to numbers. Unfortunately, he discovers he's at the very bottom of the leaderboard. None of the Blue Lock players have broken into the top 12, except for Kunigami, who has transformed into a powerful weapon and secured third place. Ness is ranked second, and Kaiser claims the top spot. Despite his low ranking, Isagi resolves to climb the leaderboard, vowing to dethrone Kaiser and prove himself as the true ace of Blue Lock. The Blue Lock players dive headfirst into their intense training regimen, knowing they have only 10 days before the first match. Under Noah's strict guidance, they push their limits daily, their rankings fluctuating with every session. Hope and fear tug at them as they fight to secure a spot in the top 11, knowing only those players will get to step onto the field. For Isagi, the stakes couldn't be higher. Unless he makes it into the top 11, he won't have the chance to play. With Noah himself as his coach, Isagi throws everything he has into improving, determined to prove his worth. The scene shifts to the first match of the Neo-Egoist League, a thrilling showdown between Bastard München and FC Barca. The atmosphere is electric as the FC Barca players step onto the field. From the sidelines, Otoya and Bachira notice Isagi sitting on the bench. Bachira flashes a mischievous grin, calling out to Isagi, "I'm going on ahead." As Bachira takes his place on the field, Isagi reflects on the grueling 10 days of training leading up to this moment. Despite his relentless effort, he couldn't crack the top 11 and secure a spot as a regular. Among the Blue Lock players, only Kunigami, the wildcard, was chosen for Bastard München's starting lineup. Sitting on the bench, Isagi seethes with frustration. Each second spent watching from the sidelines feels like an eternity. He burns with the desire to prove himself, to carve his presence into the minds of everyone on the field. Finally, the referee's whistle blows, and the first match of the Neo-Egoist League kicks off. Bastard München faces FC Barca in what promises to be an unforgettable battle.